Now, in case you're wondering who this guy is sitting next to me, he's a guy I work with. His name is Max Anderson, and he tries to be cleverer than I am. So he'll come out with a lot of remarks, make him happy. You can laugh once in a while. He works hard at it. And he's also my translator. You see, I don't hear that well. And I usually can't hear what the people say in the audience when they have a question to ask. So he can hear it, and he tells me what it is. I just hope he doesn't edit it, but there's no way that I can tell. Anyway, why don't we get started? I have no idea what we're gonna do or talk about, but I guess you do have an idea, so let's go.
All right, Stan. Well, just first of all, thank you so much for being here. I'm Meredith, nice to meet you. So guys, really, Stan, what have you been working on?
Oh, right now I'm working on a number of movies that I can't talk about, but there is one television series called Stan Lee's Lucky Man. Like nothing you've ever seen. They're filming it in England. It'll come here sometime during the next year. So when you see it advertised on TV, give it a look, and you can turn to the person next to you and say, I heard about it long ago at the Honolulu convention. And it'll make you seem very important, and the person you talk to will be very envious.
All right, Stan. Where did it all begin?
Where did it all begin?
Yeah, you, in the beginning.
Well, I was a little baby. They tell me I was very cute, very precocious. I was writing comic strip stories when I was 2 years old, 3 years old. No, actually, I never thought I'd get into comic books. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write the great American novel. And nobody wanted me to write the great American novel. And I had all kind of jobs. I was an usher in a theater, I was a delivery boy, I was an office boy, everything. And then one day I heard there was an opening in this publishing company. They needed an assistant, and it was a company that published movie books, sports books, all kind of books. And also a little line of comic books that nobody much cared about. And I found out the assistant was needed in the comic book line. And there were only 2 guys running that comic book line, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. So I met them when I was about 17 years old, and I worked with them. And my work wasn't very glamorous. I filled the inkwells. They used ink in those days. And I ran down and got them sandwiches for lunch, and I did some proofreading. And then if there was some copy that needed changing in a strip, they said, Stan, could you rewrite that copy? And I figured, why not? And I rewrote it. They must have liked it, they accepted it. Little by little, I was writing more and more. And then for some reason I never understood, they left. And I was the only guy. I was now 18 years old. And I was the only guy in the comic book department. So the publisher came to me and said, hey kid, do you think you can handle things until I find a grown-up to work things? Well, when you're 18, what do you know? I said, sure, I can handle it. And I guess the comics were so unimportant then that he forgot about them, and I stayed there ever since. And I started writing this stuff, and then I hired the artists. I became the art director and the editor. And I don't even think he was reading the books. He didn't care about comics in those days. And that's how it all started, which is a very silly story, but it is the truth. And it kept me talking for a few minutes. Otherwise, I'd have been sitting back here with nothing to do. Are you applauding the fact that I'd have been sitting with nothing to do? You got anything to say to this? All right.
What I asked Stan was, how did he create these amazing characters that become icons for all of us to love?
Well, if I give that secret away, all these people will be my competitors. No, actually, I never thought much about it. my publisher would say, I want to get a new character, Stan, can you dream one up? And I did, but in the early days, they weren't like the Marvel characters of today. He wasn't interested in good characterization, great dialogue. All he wanted was a lot of action. Give me a lot of fight scenes, give me a lot of action. That's what they want. Action, action, action. So I wrote a lot of stories that had a lot of action. Nobody cared about them, but it was a living. And one day I got so sick of it that I said to my wife, we're going ahead a few years now. I now have a wife and I'm a little older. And I said to my wife, I think I want to quit. Because I'm getting sick of writing stories where in every panel, somebody shoots somebody else. So she said, well, if you want to quit, why don't you write one story the way you'd like to do it, to get it out of your system. The worst that'll happen is he'll fire you when you want to quit anyway. So that's when I wrote the Fantastic Four, and I tried to make it different than the other characters. I tried to give them some personality and get a little more plot and so forth. And it worked, it sold. So then we started doing more books like that. And that brings us up to date to where we are now. And it's been lovely talking to you, and thank you very much.